Hey guys, today I wanted to talk a bit about the plane that, right now, is the best fighter in the game, the Rafale. When it first arrived, it had a lot of issues and complaints, but buff after buff, Gaijin has made it the most feared plane to play against. In only 1 month, it received a radar fix, 2 more missiles, double the flare amount, a reduced drag while turning, and most recently, a buff to its turn rate. With all of this, it has become a plane that can do absolutely everything right. Since the addition of Fox 3s, France has had the Mika missile, which is not optimal for BVR because of how much speed it loses turning, but the Rafale has such a good engine and acceleration that allows it to climb at the start of the match so fast that, paired with its insane AES radar that it features, that you are still gonna be able to launch top-to-down attacks at enemies that are not going to expect you to arrive there so fast. Essentially what you get is the ability to carry up to 8 radar missiles to do this threat, or you can interchange 2 of the missiles for Magic 2s if your playstyle is more focused in close quarters. I personally always bring at least 7 Mikas because Magic 2s are so limited in range that you are barely gonna be able to use them in normal situations. Unless you are caught up in a very close dogfight, which I tend to avoid, but that's just personal playstyle. Now, as you can see, the Eurofighter tries to launch an AMRAAM at me, but AMRAAMs aren't as maneuverable as Mikas, and right now I am pulling 16 Gs to get on his tail. He gets distracted with another friendly for a second, allowing me to get a rear shot. Mika has no problem under 1 kilometer to pull, since it has thrust vectoring and 50 Gs, so if you get a solid lock, they either have to notch or dive down and try to multipath, if not in this scenario they are completely dead. In this second match, as you can see, with the TWS, AES radar has no problem tracking all the enemies in front of me. Still catching more and tracking them as well, so I'm able to climb as fast as I can, Mach 1.2 already, 8 kilometers height. Start launching Mika after Mika. I usually don't launch all of them because you're screwed and forced to RTB, but you can launch 5 or 6 Mikas at the enemies. If they go defensive, of course they are not granted to hit, they can still miss, they are a radar missile, of course, if they know how to multipath, also they still gonna miss, but I insist, with the engine you have, the radar you have the capabilities to do BVR with this. As you can see, 2 splashes, not only that, there's gonna be a third one eventually. There it is, and now the Eurofighter is approaching. You still have the 30mm cannon with insane rate of fire. As you can see, the EEGS was not even on point, but I still managed to cut off his tail. Don't rely on the EEGS. I know it's a big issue because you don't have any tracers, you are gonna need to get used to it. But once you get used to the cannon, the insane rate of fire, it's gonna melt, it's gonna shred the enemies so easily. And as you can see, I've done a 180-degree turn, still holding almost Mach 1. This is how good it is. The engines are great for retaining energy even if you're a delta wing. You can essentially regain all your speed after the turn and catch enemies off guard. Of course, in a dogfight you are going to slow down, but for this type of engages where there's an enemy 6 kilometers away, they are not expecting you. You can do 180s, you will still hold your speed, regain energy if needed, and then launch a Mika and just get them killed. And yeah, you are extremely fast. This JF-17 has nothing to do here. He was already slowed down, I am still at Mach 0.1. I can catch to him easily. Sadly I missed those first shots. I just end up holding the gun, could have ended my magazine there. Keep in mind you only have 120 rounds, so keep an eye when shooting, where your aim is. Because it's not, you're gonna run out of ammunition in 1 or 2 seconds or you're not gonna be able to kill them. Now, of course the Rafale is not limited to PVR, but if you play like this match, where you just fly low, head against enemies, there's 16 players on each team, so if you encounter 5 or 6 enemies at once, they are all going to start launching missiles at you. In these cases, you just have to hack the ground, try to kill them, locking them with the HMD, and then launch a Mika, but it's a very risky maneuver. Very risky playstyle as well, it's gonna get you killed sometimes. But you can still do this from time to time. As you can see, the turns 14 Gs. It's gonna turn, it's not gonna break. You have a full 360-degree missile approach warning system as well to warn you about more infrared missiles coming your way you might not notice. And the Eurofighter here with the AMRAAM splashes me, damages my tail. Very lucky of him while I was multipathing, but still even with the damage, 12 Gs, 10 Gs, as you can see here. Eurofighter runs away and I managed to kill the J-10. Now the Su-34 has nothing to do, he was already stalling, no need to launch the magic, but I wanted to ensure the kill. Now, if you like this type of gameplay where you get into close quarter situations instead of the PvR engages of top tier, I would really suggest you play at the start of the match very safe. Get some friendlies in front of you so they start scouting the enemies and you just catch them off guard. The enemies will be focused in your teammates, they won't be focusing you. That's the main importance, so you have more survivability. Of course, if you really want the kill, there's a chance that the friendly that's in front launches a missile, shoots him down, crashes into him, whatever, and your missile will miss. And you will miss the kill, miss the missile, but it's just a much more safer approach. Even with the RWR, the missile approach warning system, the flares, everything, if you go first, you are taking way more chances to getting killed than the rest of the team. Now, as you can see, we need to turn, but they are focusing the Sukhoi who is making the sharper turn. Just take it slow, fly behind cover to make a safer approach. And now the F-15 and the F-14 are focusing my friendlies that are closer. I managed to get some missiles on them, but I am late and the F-15 dies. Of course that's a disadvantage. But the advantage of course is that I'm still alive, got most of my countermeasures, didn't take any risks, and there I still managed to get a kill. Sadly, in top tier, if you expect to get into 1v1s, if you expect dogfights, I am sorry to disappoint you, but that's not gonna happen in 90% of the matches. Just because of how chaotic everything is. Keep in mind it's 16 versus 16 in this type of matches where there's barely any chance to do 1v1s. As you can see, two enemies approach, I launch at them, I need to fly defensive against their missile, I cannot manage to multipath in time. Sukhois kill me in return, no chance to merge. Also there are more friendlies and enemies near. If you start turning against one of them or they start turning against you, you are most likely gonna die most of the time. So even if the Rafale is really good at those type of scenarios, with the missiles and the flight performance, you are most of the times not gonna be able to try it out that way. I am really sorry to disappoint you if that's what you're looking for in this play. In this match, a lot of friendlies are trying to get the same kill. I launch at the Gripen, but I am too late. A friendly snags him first, and that's what's gonna happen. You have a plane in your side, but there's a friendly near, so you have to wait until you ensure that your friendlies are not going to get him. Because if not, you're gonna miss the missile, or just take the risk, launch the missile, and maybe by the time it arrives, you hit a dead body. It is how it works in top tier a lot of times. It is a lot of missile madness, but fortunately that's why Rafale is so good. You have a really good RWR and missile approach warning system. In case you didn't know, both of them cover 360 degrees, not horizontally but also vertically. You cover all the surface around you with the MAW and the RWR. I think the Eurofighter has the same type of system where it can detect everything in all directions, but I am not sure. For the Rafale it is true, so it is an amazing advantage in climates like this, where there's a lot of clouds, where you are not going to see the enemies, but the RWR is still gonna catch the enemies above you launching at your friendly. As you can see here in my RWR, there's a MiG-29 somewhere above us, and the RWR is still catching him. The moment he launches at my friendly, it's already warning me. You just make a sharp turn. Rafale is great at that, launch at him, as I'm doing here. Absurdly good at doing this type of stuff. Hey guys, so this is all I had for today. I really hope you enjoyed the matches, hope you found it entertaining and useful. In this video I've used some music for the background, please let me know if you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to see other type of music or no music at all, and as always, please feel free to leave a like, to share or to comment your thoughts on the video. It would also help a lot with the channel growth, and as always, thanks a lot and see you next video.